Barry, you doing all right?
I'm getting better.
Good.
I'm getting
All
around.
right.
Good deal, Barry.
Yeah, that is good to hear. All right. So welcome everybody to the August 1st, 2023 Delta Amateur Radio Club Board of Directors meeting. So we're going to get started just kind of with a recap of how the meeting location went. And I know just about everybody was there afterwards, but Mike volunteered to kind of watch the door so that way Joe could be in the main room at the upcoming meeting. Seemed like it did great. The signs that Joe took the time to go and hang beforehand, I think, helped to kind of point everybody, and of course the pictures and everything. But I don't know, what do you guys think? We'll be meeting there again since that's what we decided to do, and since Randy had volunteered that for August, of course, so we've been announcing it and everything. But any feedback on anything we need to do differently this time or adjust, or any overall comments, I guess?
We need to herd people out a little quicker because Randy was waiting at the gate for us to go. I mean, I know we don't want to stifle conversation and all, but it seemed like it was 9:30ish when I went through the gate, and he was still waiting on people to leave.
Yeah. No, I agree. I know I had my phone off, or I would have, when I saw the security across the road at Bellevue driving around, I realized what time it was. I was like, oh, we better go. But no, that is one thing I planned on kind of helping to do this time, to get everybody out, and not just out of the building. Where we got caught up was out of the parking lot.
Yeah.
And so if that's what we need to do with, where we're meeting at right now, then that's, we do need to get out of there quicker. So I agree. I was the root cause of that this time, but I agree.
Yeah, I actually tried to call you when I went through, because he was waiting and he asked me if anybody was left, and I was like, yeah, there's a couple more. They should be headed this way. And
yeah,
I had Mary Jean's number. I don't think I had Jim's, and so I tried, but I hope you weren't too far behind me.
I talked to Mike O'Gwen today, and it'll be a number of months before the fellowship hall will be back in. They have not done any. They've got a roof back on, but they're letting the building dry out. And I don't know if they've even got a contract on construction at all.
Well, we didn't sustain any house damage here, but my car has a big dent in it from where a branch fell, and I didn't realize it at the time until going through the claims process later that, I got quite a bit of hail damage, and just seeing how backed up the local facilities are with just car damage alone, I can only imagine that, Service Master or whatever restoration companies are out there, probably, even if they have a contractor, probably booked up for a while out. So, but okay. Well, thank you for touching base with him and checking in on that. And again, for those of you who weren't able to stay, either weren't able to make the meeting or weren't able to stay, Randy did mention that he's got a request prepped and ready to submit. So if we want to use that facility throughout the remainder of the year, that he was ready to submit that for us. So
awesome.
Yeah.
It might not be a bad idea, being that I'm with you. I think the backup of contractors is fairly sufficient. We're doing goodly a bit of renovation at our church, and it's hard to get the subcontractors that would be the very ones that would be doing that because they're booked up.
I have a feeling it'll be past December before the fellowship hall is fixed.
Okay.
Didn't he say he was kind of planning on at least a year usage of the building?
Randy, yeah.
You know, it wouldn't be bad to say at least, you know, we'll keep you updated on the other church, but we thank you for the year, but and we'll take it. We'll book it if there's no harm done if we leave earlier.
Yeah, we can let him know that we're definitely interested in that and that we would certainly appreciate that at least through the remainder of the year. So
Well, the remainder of the year, not but another 5 months, 6 months.
yeah. With this, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, but it ties into this. So I know back in December, I guess we had talked about bringing up discussion around this time, really about a month or two ago, of another additional donation to the Church of Christ. So one thing I wanted to bring up to you guys, and it may be a little bit early, we may want to wait until I guess at least the end of this year to consider it, but I thought it might be appropriate that instead of making that donation to the Church of Christ, that we consider making that donation to the seminary if we're able to do that. But what do you guys think? Or do we want to try to do both? Because I mean, I know they're probably in a tough spot, but I would think insurance would be covering anything that they're doing.
And Piers Insurance is doing that.
Yeah.
If they got service master in there. I agree with Joe's thinking on that because they don't come cheap. I mean, insurance companies use them all the time.
They have Service Pro doing the pullout stuff, so they probably have insurance. But yeah, let's wait and have another month and then discuss it in September on what to donate to Mid-America.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to do that, but the Church of Christ might have that in their budget too, to have a budget as a line item. We get a donation from the Amateur Radio Club of $500.
Oh, they normally get it in January, and they did get 300 in January.
Oh, is that what? Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, because we had donated 300, and we had talked about maybe donating more at the time. But then what we decided on, so that way it wouldn't be expected to be the larger donation in case we had a lighter year where we could donate, to just do maybe a supplemental donation sometime over the summer. So I know things have played out differently, but I got to thinking about it. I was like, well, this may actually be a good way to kind of show thanks. So I don't know. I mean, if we can talk to Randy a little more later and of course bring it up later, but I don't know. I thought it would be a good way to kind of show our appreciation. So
Yeah,
I know we don't have
wait
the
until
stores there, but
September.
yeah. Okay. Sounds
I
good.
agree, though. I think that's a good idea.
I agree too.
All right. Well, I will put that on the agenda for September, and if we need to even push it back past that, we can. But I'll bring it up next month, and we can go from there. Joe, do you want to fill us in on where everything is for Huntsville?
We've got 22 people on the bus for Huntsville. And we should be good to go. We had some scholarships given that'll cover the shortfall with just 22. And hopefully we'll get, I think we'll get one more from the, one or two more from the class.
Good deal.
Oh, one other thing, my contact, Ralph in Huntsville, that I coordinate with on getting the bus backed up to the loading dock. He called me last week and said that he had gone to the Huntsville Hamfest board and asked them to give us the $12 early admission ticket price rather than the $15 price. And they accepted it. So we're saving about $75, $75.
Oh, that's great.
Good deal.
So that was nice of Ralph, but he said there's no other group that brings a bus to Memphis that the people wouldn't be there if they didn't come. So
Good deal.
that
is
helps a
good.
little bit. And I had talked to him that it was quite expensive this year. The bus had gone up considerably, and everything had gone up, and he understood that. I think when it's bulk like this, why shouldn't they?
Well, and they know you're buying them. They know
Right.
you're coming. You
Yeah.
just don't know how many.
And we've been doing it for what, 15 years now?
Yep.
At least 15. I'm trying to remember the first time actually the first time was an MARA deal. Rick, do you remember? But I think we've been going since 2005. And that's it for the bus. You want me to go on for training?
Yeah, why not?
Training, we had a 10 in the class last night. We've got 12 that probably will test, 11 or 12. But I'm happy with that. 3 people that live in Covington dropped out because of the distance. And it was a husband, wife, and son, and the son was the primary driver of taking the class, and they couldn't find a parking place 2 weeks ago, I guess, and when it got doubled up on the double booked on the room, but he's going to test at Atoka, so I don't know if his parents are going to test or not. But that's it. But it looks like we'll have probably 7 or 8 at least out of the class that make it. One guy doesn't even have an internet or doesn't have a computer and just is just totally against stuff like that. And I said, I don't see how he's existing. He's going to he has to go online to get his FRN. His friend can probably do it for him, but I don't know how he's really studying, but he might be able to do it just reading it from a book.
The old fashioned way.
Yeah.
Real quick, circle back to the meeting location. The sign up sheets, whoever's manning that, and I think you said Mike was going to do that. We need to make sure and ask guests to provide their email address.
Okay. I'll do the sheet. I generated those sheets last time. I'll do them again. And I'll put,
that'd be good.
okay.
Yeah, I can be there early to do that.
Thank you for volunteering to do that, Mike.
No problem.
How does it seem like the classes are pretty engaged? Maybe a little better than when they were virtual, Joe?
I don't know. Perry, what do you say?
About the same?
I thought it was a real good group this time. They would ask questions during breaks and they would raise their hand and ask questions. So to me, they seemed really involved in it. And it's a good mix of different ages and male and female. I mean, I really like this particular group. I think they're really, really good. I mean, I just saw them for one night, but I thought it was a really good group this time.
Yeah. Well, good.
We have one that had a technician license and it expired. And I think he might even be able to be grandfathered into general if he passes his tech. He has to bring a copy of his license from previous, and if it was before March of 87, he can be grandfathered to general.
Cool.
He didn't know that.
Well, good.
Can he pull that offline now?
What was that?
Can he pull that offline now?
I don't know if he can pull it offline. He can go in, and I think he has a copy of his license from previous.
Oh, okay.
It expired 2 years ago in September, last September. So it'll be 3 years ago that it expired. So it's past the expiration. And if that's the case, then that would have been 2010. He would have had to have renewed it 3 times. But I don't know. We'll see what his license says.
Well, good. That's good to hear. I don't have a lot to discuss about this, but just kind of something that, I mean, I will try to find some more information before this upcoming meeting. If not, I'm just going to mention it to at least get it on everybody's radar. But the ARRL VODA W1AW portable station is set to be in Tennessee. I think it starts on the 13th of September, and it went for several days. I want to say like 5 days or something. And so John and Steve, John Reiners and Steve Fraser were really the two that participated. Because Perry, did you end up? You did not, correct? You were going to, but
I was just so afraid to mess up all my logging programs and everything, and I
Okay.
thought I could find an easy solution to that. John can just, do all these things that I don't have the ability to do, but I was excited about it. I think people really get fired up when they see that call, go out. And I'm going to read up on it and try to participate in that. I really wanted to last time, but I just did not want to mess up my logs and things. But I do want to do it this time.
okay. Yeah, and I think because the last time, nobody really knew a whole lot about it, and Steve and John kind of figured out, some of the details, and didn't think it was too complicated. So hopefully this time, like, we've got some folks who can talk about it a little bit, and then maybe hopefully get kind of a little bit better time slot as well, because it was last
Perry?
minute and it was really just an overnight thing.
Perry, there's an N1MM, November 1 Mike that has a logging program you might look for if you're trying to do an alternate log.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, I subscribe to my logging program, so I thought I would send in a ticket and see if they could just give me the instructions on how to do it to Ham Radio Deluxe. So hopefully I can work that out. I saw /1 was active last weekend when I was on FT8, and they were real busy. A lot of people were answering their CQ. So it is really cool. But thank you, Joe.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'll try to dig up some more details. If not, at least I'll mention it so that way Steve and John can talk about it. Have not received anything yet. I think it's Tulio maybe who coordinates the Bluff City Blues ride. So I've not seen any emails from him, but I'll touch base with Steve and see if he's had anything. But I figured we could at least mention that this month so people can be thinking about it, because it is normally it's in October. It is on September 30th this year, so it's a little bit earlier. But it's pretty simple, and we can do sign-ups in our September meeting. So I'll bring that up. And then the big thing that I had tonight, and I brought it up at the Aries meeting, is that, and I'm bringing this up in no way. I think, Barry, you have done a phenomenal job. And I don't know that anybody in the club could have done anything better than what you've been doing and everything. But I know for me, with everything that we've been going through with, and I guess losing power for 8 days, you know, and we've had a lot of parts of the county that have lost power continually over the past 2 months. You know, I've been following some other stuff where there's city governments that didn't quite prepare for things to happen, and then they all of a sudden had to do a massive property tax hike rate, and you know, just all kinds of stuff that have kind of been clicking into place over the past few months that got me realizing that maybe it is a good time just to talk as a club to see if we want to do anything. And so I guess, you know, Barry and Rick, if y'all are willing to kind of talk about some of the details about, you know, what we've got where, or, you know, if there's any, I don't know. I mean, we may be where we need to be, but there's a lot of folks who have been bringing up different questions and whatnot, and I don't think a lot of the folks realize, because it's been a while since we've talked about it, how expensive it is just to even go up and try to figure out something. And you know, we can drop a couple $1,000s and it may not even tell us what's wrong.
Give me about 2 minutes and you'll get it.
Yeah.
I'm about to hit you with it.
Okay, sounds good. I don't know, I just thought it was, you know, it might be good, and then it might be good just to think about, is there anything that we need to consider that, you know, we've not done? And I know I briefly brought it up before because it was mentioned by Ty, but you know, is there anything that we could possibly add to any of the repeaters that we may not use now, but it might be beneficial 5 years from now? So I don't know.
Barry, take it.
Right. Yeah, you're talking about more like expanding our functionality and stuff. Is that what you're talking about?
I guess. I mean, we've had some folks ask about like adding repeaters, and I don't know. I don't think that would be. I mean, we could still talk about it. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think we need to. But I don't know. I mean, I guess functionality maybe.
They were talking about linking.
Yeah, somebody brought up linking. You know.
Yeah, well, that's a consideration also. But the biggest thing is I want to get what used to be our #1 repeater back up on the air. I mean, it's a jewel sitting out there. It's not doing anything, and none of us are 100% sure why. It's not the repeater. I mean, we can fix it and it works fine. And then anyway, bottom line is that I talked to Wallace Tower Company today, who's been doing our climbing work and everything. and about going up, and we want to, we last time we had them out here, we traced that third line that comes all the way into our room, inching, what is it, Rick? Inching 7/8, whatever.
5/8, I think, inch and 5/8, I believe.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a big hard line or flex. Anyway, we had them chase it out, and it goes up 200 feet higher than the two repeaters we have out there now. It goes up 200 feet higher than where they are. So it's a 700-foot level. What we're wanting to do is go ahead and take our 2-meter antenna, the 8.2 machine, and take it up 200 feet more, and let's put it up there, and let's utilize that feed line that we have. First of all, it gives us 200 feet more. Second of all, it gives us a feed line. I mean, we don't know much about it. We did have them tested out last time. And Rick, that turned out right. Turned out good, didn't it?
Yeah, I remember with us trying to find out what band the antenna was on there. It actually isn't. Well,
yeah, but it was.
We didn't know if it was terminated or not. There is an antenna, and they took pictures for us that time.
Right. Yeah, we got pictures of it. But anyway, what our idea is to take the 2-meter antenna, the 8.2 machine, take it up 200 feet, and let's plant it right there at the 700-foot level. All right. Like I say, it's going to be, since we've been having so much trouble, and it's acting like it's water in the lines and stuff like that. We don't know. We just don't know what it is. But this would take us off of that feed line completely and put us on another one. And last time we had them out, we had them trace all this stuff out and look for damage, from the fires and stuff they had coming out of one of the TV stations. And I believe they found it was fine. They took a lot of pictures and everything. They even took pictures of the arc of the waveguide arcing, which scared me. I told the guy to get out of there. But anyway, that's the plan. I talked to him today, and he can get to us. Well, he said he could do it this week. Then we got to talking a little more, and he's going to have a crew here in about 2 to 3 weeks working on WREG. And since they will already be here, we just saved $1,000. Okay, the price he gave me was $19.20, which I think is a bargain to go up to the 700-foot level and then install an antenna.
Barry,
Yeah.
are you going to have them check out the antenna before they move it up? See how the SWR is on the antenna up at on the tower? Because I'm questioning whether the antenna is good.
Well, so it's a point, but how are we going to test it?
With a Drake meter. Well, you got to have a transmitter there.
I don't see any way to test it.
I don't know, because the antenna itself could be bad is the reason.
Well, it's possible.
You certainly can't use an MFJ meter.
I know I had them look at that antenna as best they could, and they couldn't see any problems with it. And they shouldn't, because that antenna's only be up there, what, 2-3 years?
Yeah. I would think if lightning would hit higher than on at the 500-foot level.
Well, the funny thing is that it started working, and it worked for a while, for several months, 6 months or so. Then all of a sudden, kapoof!
Yeah,
it's the same thing again. It's turned on right now. Anybody wants to try it, but the controller's not turned in. I forgot to push a button, so the controller will not beep at you. So, but So don't be alarmed about that. That's a quick fix. But anyway, that's where I was going to go right now. I don't know any way to test that antenna, Joe.
How much would an antenna be if you just got a new one? Just
That one was $1,400.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's not throwaway.
No, it's a good commercial antenna.
Yeah.
With DB25 or something like that. I forget what they call it, but it has 4 elements on it that are pointed in 4 different directions. And, it's what you see most of when you look at towers, for this kind of equipment. For police, anybody. You can actually take those, if you want to get fancy with it, you can take those elements and point them in the same direction, whatever, and make a directional antenna out of it. Somewhat. We're not doing that.
No.
Did you say that there's already an antenna connected to that third hard line going to
Yeah,
700
it's
feet?
not being used for anything because the line comes into our room and stops. It's terminated right.
Have we ever hooked anything up to that to see if
Yes.
that? Okay.
Yes. And problem is we don't know what frequency it is.
Okay.
And it's kind of hard to do things out there because there's so much stuff, so much RF out there. And the nicest thing would be able to put an antenna analyzer on it. You might as well just take an antenna analyzer and throw it in the lake because it's useless out there. Everything, you just move a knob and it's going
Yeah.
this number. So,
The antenna was put up April 29th of 2020.
that's when we put it in.
That's what the dates I have on photos here.
But anyway, he said he could do it in 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
So I said, that's perfect. I said, I gotta get on the board meeting tonight and he'll call me back so he can try to nail down the price, the time and everything. But that's what I got going on right now. And
It sounds like a good idea to me. We've tried everything else.
I know I want to get off of that
Yeah.
feed line. I don't know if it's a feed line or not. We've gone up there and just messed around with the pigtail, and all of a sudden it looked like it started working one time. And
Yeah, I was going to ask if we want to invest in another pigtail since that's
well, we usually do.
a cheaper solution.
Yeah, Rick has been providing that. And
Hey, Barry, you want to go out there and hook up a different jumper from the repeater to the big feed line that's in the room?
Yeah.
We can do that real quick this sometime here, just a piece of, good RG8 type. Well, I'm looking at real quick. Your license runs out December 3rd this year for W4BS.
Yes. Thanks for reminding me, though. I'm trying to keep, put reminders everywhere so I don't forget. But I can't do it till 2 months? Or how early can you?
90 days.
90 days. Yeah.
90 days. Okay, 3 months. All right. Well, we're getting there.
It's a
Well, we're getting close.
443-700.
September.
What height is that?
What's that? Oh, it's 500 feet. It's sitting right next to the 8-tube antenna. It's on a nice little platform up there, and it's perfect for them, but not when it doesn't work.
It was great when the elevator worked because you just take the elevator up, get off
Yeah,
on the
it went
platform
up.
and do work.
Yeah, it ended right there. The elevator did. You just step off and I wouldn't know. I've never seen the elevator work. So, but if the board wants me to do it, I'll go ahead and get this scheduled out, and we can try this. unless somebody's got better suggestions.
I think that sounds like a great idea. I mean, that sounds cheaper than what I would have expected. And you said,
It
I
was-
guess if it knocked
very
1,000
much-
off
It was
by
very much
waiting,
cheaper
you
than I was
know,
expecting.
seems like really good. The timing seems too good to miss
Mm-hmm.
out on.
Last time we paid
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
close to 3,000. He said he was going to knock 1,000 off because they would already be in the area.
That's awesome
Okay, 1,000 works.
for sure.
So when we, with the proposal of moving that existing antenna up to the 700-foot level, are we going to replace what is there at the 500-foot level? Just swap
There's no
the
reason to.
antennas, or
No, there's no reason to. We're just taking this and moving it.
okay. I didn't know if it was worth having an extra antenna up there with that feed line as a
But if the
backup,
feed line's
or-
bad, what good would it be?
Well, I didn't know if we could
Oh,
take
hey.
take the antenna that's at the 700 and bring it down and hook it up at the 500-foot level.
The
And
old antenna that we took down is still out there. If you want to put it back up, it just happens to be fiberglass. Just happens to be going. You know, grab it with your hands. You're going to itch for 3 days.
Get a bucket of
Well,
jelly.
It's curated.
because if you said we don't know the frequency right now, but I mean, technically, once they get the antenna from 700, it would be on the antenna, right? Or would it be on
We're
there?
going to take that over. You know, that line
Okay.
over. Whatever that other antenna did, it's junk. You know,
Okay.
I mean, it's mounted there and it's got a box there, which some kind of matching box. I don't know what it is exactly, but we've got pictures of it. You know, we had them take pictures while they were up there, and I just don't know where mine are right at the moment. Rick's the organizer, but anyway, I think it'd be worth a try.
Okay.
I mean, I wish we could. Rick, what'd you say when we just had them put a dummy load on it, didn't we? And we tested it out.
Yeah, I seen him up there dumb loading connectors and stuff.
Yeah.
But let's see, in the meantime, this week, if you want to get together then Thursday, Friday, Mary, and we can go replace the little 1/2-inch hardline jumper that goes from the repeater itself in the same room to the 1 5/8, you know, where it comes down.
That'd work.
Just swap it out, just see if we got something goofy on our end. Is real simple.
Okay.
And we talked about, we moved to that other feed line. It's kind of across the room diagonally. We can roll the repeater cabinet over there, put a new little short pigtail to it.
Right.
You know, along, of course, new pigtail at the top going to the antenna. One more thing while I'm chatting here, off subject, is your new location. You know, if it's going to be extended, obviously past the first year, maybe it's going to create some grief on your December Christmas dinner. To think about that, because there's no kitchen, there's no access to get to the place. You know, he's walking through stuff. So just throw it out there.
He's got a point.
See, you're thinking about the important stuff, huh? The food, right? You know. Oh,
Yeah,
Long,
we're
long
just-
time
yeah,
ago,
no, that's good to think about, though.
Hey, we
Yeah,
can
dinner on the
radio
ground.
church.
it's got food involved.
Just have
Yeah.
dinner on the grounds.
Yeah.
Just change the meeting to Danvers, man.
Oh, mm, mm, mm.
Have a breakfast Christmas party.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds good. I mean, we'll call for a vote in a second. Just again, kind of continuing discussion. I mean, is there anything while they're there that we would want them to check on with the 443-700, or do we know do we have an idea of what that issue might be?
I don't know if we've really got an issue. I think some of it may just be atmospheric. And,
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of hard to
Other
pin that
people's radios.
and that. It's a different
Okay.
frequency.
I
And-
can't hit it. Last couple of Wednesdays, I've tried to get on the net. I can't get on.
You know, I just don't think things are changing, except atmosphere is changing that much,
Yeah.
Atmosphere, especially on 440, can affect it a little more.
Okay.
If I'm
Is there a
right.
way they can have the net controls find out what each person that has problems is running, if they're running a
Yeah, we'd
HP
like
in their house or, beam antenna, that type of thing to kind of weed it out?
that would be great if we could get that info.
But I
Okay.
could get on it with, my handheld out on my outside patio and not have any problems. And now I can do the same thing. I can't hear anything. I'm gonna get Joe to look at my radio though.
That was a 440 repeater?
Yeah,
I've
Yeah.
also been having a lot of problems from home.
Okay.
Some days it's perfect, and some days I can't even break the squelch.
It sounds like
Well-
18 problems all over again.
Yeah.
I mean, and this may just be because I was thinking about this too. Like, and we've said it before when we've had problems with the 8.2 originally. Like, this is a good time for people to look at their home systems. So I mean, while there may be issues with the repeater or with the atmospheric conditions or whatnot, I mean, I thought for a couple times checking in that it was the repeater until we had fault, with net controls or whatnot, not getting in real well. And then we had other people checking in and they were crystal clear. So, that was something else I was thinking of bringing up was, I mean, this is a really good time again for people to assess their own systems and see if there's any way that they can, make any improvements or adjustments or whatnot. And because, I mean, we say it every night. I mean, the net is there nightly for information, but then also to test equipment. So if they're not getting in real well, how can they adjust and then check in the next night or later in the net to see if it works better? So,
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely right. A lot of times people just don't think it's their equipment, and sometimes it's not, but it is a good time to evaluate your system and what are you getting out on and how far are you going, and what frequencies are we using, 2 meters and 440 are they're going to act different.
I was going to swap out my feed line and try it, see if that makes a difference.
You got an antenna analyzer?
I don't. That's my purchase at Huntsville.
I think it might be where I got mine. I don't know. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to see the antenna, I've got the pictures pulled up.
Good. I knew you would have them, Joe. I've got
it
them.
wouldn't hurt to reshare them if you want to.
Okay, I'll go up and let's see.
I remember those.
Let's see if I can rotate it. Nope, it doesn't want to rotate.
All right. I think it's well, yeah, a lot of those are the ones you checked and just continue on, and that is where we want to put. Looks like that's where we want to put it. But
That's the 500-foot level.
oh, it is. It's not the other
Yep.
level.
No, I don't know if I have a copy of the other.
I've got
level.
some. It's not very many. It's kind of a.
There's the old antenna.
Yeah.
I don't know why I have a problem with my LibreOffice. It keeps wanting to bring pictures up in draw, and it's screwed up.
It's a Libra program.
Yeah. Here's
Bill Gates.
There's the antenna when it was getting ready to be pulled up.
I'm only seeing your gallery. I don't see the
Oh, you don't?
photo
Oh,
alert.
okay, hold on. Let me.
We just see the whole folder of pictures
Let's
as
see.
thumbnails.
Hold on 1 second. Try to get the. Trying to see the picture that that's actually a moving a video. I'll stop and bring share up and
No, thumbnails,
nope, just thumbnails.
just thumbnails.
Uh,
Maybe if you go up top to where it says sort new view, you can change it in view. I can't get into view. I don't see anything now but except everybody sitting there.
hold on.
Well, or if it, depending on what screen sharing, because it might be, you might be clicking the one where it just shows the folder versus
Yeah, thumbnails.
versus the full screen.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
don't
when
know.
you even when you share the screen, you could even try maybe minimizing the folder where the pictures are and see if that, like if they're
okay.
hidden behind it, maybe.
I think the program's not allowing him to do that.
Okay.
Bill Gates doesn't like something he didn't invent. Yeah, that's a good one. Do large icons. Did you
Yep,
do
I
large?
just did.
All right, go back up there and let's see what the other choices are.
Extra large is what I chose.
Down at the bottom is a show.
Yeah,
Is
what
that-
does show mean?
You need to find 8131 movie is this clip that's got all the video pulling it up.
all the
I
way
don't
down? You don't have an 8131.
No.
I don't think he has any movie ones on there. If you look at the,
Can you see? Can you see that?
Oh, they're large tiles. We can see them better than the little tiles.
Yeah.
But that's not, I mean, that's not gonna do us any good.
Okay. I'll
Okay.
bow out.
Yeah. It
All
was
right,
worth
see
a
what
try.
Rick has. Rick, what do you have?
I've got the whole set here that's taken with the movie clips and the fixed shots he's got.
Joe, can you let
But not on this computer. I'm looking behind me.
Oh,
Rick, Joe, can you give Rick permission?
He has.
Well,
Anybody should
Everybody
be able
has
to.
permission.
I don't have them on this computer. I'm looking behind me at a
Oh,
desktop.
okay.
So tell you what, I'll bring a stick to the meeting next week and you guys can, make sure you get them all. And find everything we've got on that, plus the picture of the one at 700 feet, which we're not sure what it is. That may be something you want to do for a club meeting, some not just show all this stuff in the past.
Yeah.
Let's get it working first, because then we
Berry show rodeo.
Hang on, let me look at mine real quick. Okay, let me see if I can share this. This is where they climbed the other day. All right, let's see. How am I going to share this now?
All right. So down below where it says, there should be a button that says share screen in the middle.
Hang on, I got to get back to Zoom meeting. Okay.
move your mouse a little bit and you'll see the share screen down at the bottom,
Yeah. Okay.
right in the middle in green.
Oh yeah. The one that's staring at me.
Yeah, jumping out of the page at you.
Okay, and I want this one.
You're still there. You need to click on share. Share screen. You hadn't gotten it yet. There you go.
Okay. And y'all see the,
These are tiles. Yeah.
yeah. Let me just. Yeah, shoot. It all jumped over to the other side. Let me see if I can move this thing. Y'all see that?
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, this is, let me enlarge it. This is, when they're, heading, taking, inspecting all the feed lines, our feed lines as he went up. And this is, part of it. Here we go. All the complete with the bird poop. Plenty of it.
Hmm.
And let's see, I believe, what we were looking for is in this bunch. All right, that's where some of the arcing was happening. That's all melted insulation or whatever that you see.
Gary, if you look real close at the black spot, just at the far end of it, there you see the arc.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can you see my pointer?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Right in there, and it's on that cable. That's a support cable.
Mm.
And it's and it's just sitting
Oh.
there parking. And all that racket we used to get, that's it right there.
So is the large black hard line there, is that ours?
No, that I don't think so.
Okay.
Ours is not quite that big, I don't think.
That's 3-inch, I think.
Yeah. Here we go. This is the leakage tester.
That's when you told him he needed to get out of there.
100%. Oh yeah.
He should come work for the Germantown Water Department.
Germantown Diesel Department.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what.
Somewhere you got a video where it hits the 250 mark, I believe, on there.
Yeah. All right, let me wait till that one's over. I don't know what that is. You can see where all that insulation's been dripping down over the time.
Mhm.
Here we go. See what we got. There,
Oh, gosh.
it pegged it out.
Ooh,
Mm.
wow.
Lands right there. And you wonder why we had problems? That's 100,000 watts there.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah.
Scary
Space.
stuff.
That seems like that ought to be against the law.
I would say it is. Guarantee you FCC wouldn't have been too happy about it.
If
Because
they hung
think of
runner
all the
alone and
spurious-
wouldn't have any more kids either.
Yeah. But think of all the spurious stuff they're putting out, transmitting out.
You think the chocolate bar in his pocket melted?
Well, like I said, like Lynn said, that was about the time that I said, you better get out of there. Now, that's the gap. That's the flange that was busted. One of them.
Mm.
See where they tried to
Patch it.
JB weld it together. That didn't work so much.
Mm.
That's where a lot of arcing was going on.
Man.
It's scary stuff.
I wonder who approved them doing that.
Beats me.
Well, and I mean, I know they did a lot of work up there, but did we ever have we had anybody climb it to confirm that they fixed all that, or was that did they still have construction after?
I think
he
they
went up?
changed it out, didn't they, Rick? Yeah, they put a totally different kind of feed line in there.
Yeah, it's a smaller diameter, but it's brand new stuff.
Yeah, all this
Okay.
stuff came out and was piled up for 2 years up against the fence.
Okay.
And I noticed the other day, Rick, they did finally take it out of there.
Yeah, that scrap was worth a lot of money, but
Yeah.
they had the second feed line. You got 24 to 30, both TV's channels, been up there. So I think they gutted the other one finally.
All right, I think this is where this is our feed line right here. This is coming in, and that's going to the antenna, I believe.
And that loop there was the first jumper I made up, but we didn't know if we had to be on that side of that tower, across the tower from the main feed.
Yeah.
So
So
I
we
made
didn't
it
know.
extra long. And then we swapped that out again, I believe, with a shorter one.
Yes, we did. But all of this was just completely covered up. It was like an inch or two of tape and this, sealant and all this stuff. It took them probably 30 minutes to clean it off like that. Oh, you're showing us where it was loose.
Yeah, and it was cracked down at the bottom where, look at the bottom. Isn't that cracked, or is that just black on it?
Where?
Right down to the right, go all the way down to the right where it screws into the big cylinder thing.
Here?
Yeah, down there,
Down there.
in that area. Ain't that cracked or broken?
Or the old wrap on there.
Yeah. I don't think that's. Let's go to the next one.
They didn't leave it open. They wrapped it back up.
Yeah. That's the job they did. Just close it back up.
Oh, okay, so it's waterproof.
And I think that's
Looks like
the new shorter jumper that replaced that coil.
Yeah, because there's our antenna right there.
Wasn't there another antenna out there someplace?
440 sitting right next to it,
Okay,
over on this side.
yeah.
I mean, that's our 8.2 antenna right there. If any problem that would be with this antenna would be in this harness going up. But I just can't see it. It's only been up there, 3 years. These are commercial grade antennas that are not supposed to go bad in 3 years or less. Actually started messing up with us after a year and a half.
Yeah, it worked fine for a while.
The main thing Barry can tell you is we've had this high SWR, for months there, and then it dropped to
Go
zero.
back to that last picture.
I will. Let him finish first.
Yeah, I just said SWR was high, and then on one time you go under, it's just like great, for months,
Right.
and then it goes back again. And we had receive problems at one point, and then it's transmits, obviously high SWR 4-to-1.
Okay, this is the 500 level, 500-foot level. Picture yourself jogging on up another 200 feet, and here you are. This is where I want to put our antenna.
Okay.
We need to take that one down and use that mounting bracket right there, I guess. That should work, shouldn't it, Rick?
Is that the one that belonged to Bellevue Baptist Church?
No,
That's
Yeah.
440.
Yeah, that's a different antenna. Yeah, that is the 440. We're using it. So this one, we don't know what it was and what it does. Now, I assume this is some kind of matching box. I really don't know what's in it. But you can see it goes in and then goes on up to the antenna. But we don't care about the box. If they can take this off, take the antenna down and put ours on it. And let's see what's next. Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's the antenna that's on there now.
Hmm.
Don't ask me what it is.
I was just fixing to. Looks like,
Well, we need to make a new jumper to go from the
Yes,
antenna, bypassing all that
this
box and
right
that
here.
junk.
From there, bypass this box and go straight to the feed line. Did we show the feed line at all? I don't think we did. This has got an in and an out. Well, if this started over or what?
looks like it. Well, he's at 250.
Ouch.
Surprised he's still got a hand. Hmm.
I think that's at the higher level.
Hmm.
Oh, well,
That's your elevator pulley.
this elevator should be right back in behind, well, I don't
There's
know,
a come along they were pulling tension
somewhere
with
in
too.
there.
Tell you what, it's good and rusty.
That's where that goes from, it comes out of the TV stations with this square or rectangular waveguide and then switches to this circular
Hmm.
there. And this goes all the way on up.
They finally said that was for a wind load, it's round, it kind of bypasses the heavy winds instead of a
Yeah.
flat surface for the waveguide.
Yeah, I kind of think so too. All right, that seems to be all of them I've got. Anyway, you see where we want to put it. It's there. We should be able to just put it in. And let me flip back real quick to this antenna. Yeah. See, it's just a pole there, and these are the only two mounts right there. There's the bottom of it. You get this mount halfway up that element.
I'm
And
glad
then
he's
this
gonna have to
mount.
carry it 200 more feet.
What's that?
I'm glad they'll have to carry it 200 more feet up.
But anyway, that's kind of the plan.
they'll put a pulley on it and pull it up.
Whatever they want to do.
I know, and it's here.
I mean,
Hold
they
this.
can do it manually,
Hmm.
Barry,
Those
it might not
guys-
be a bad idea if you can get some of these pictures to the people doing the work so they
Yeah, I
can
know.
plan, what they've had.
I was thinking of that too. When I talk to him again, I'm going to say, look, I've got pictures of where I want it to go.
and what it looks like.
If he can figure out who the guy was that was up there doing all this stuff, he should remember some of it.
Well,
maybe-
he probably works on a lot of them and
Yeah.
it helped him to remember it by seeing it.
But anyway,
He'll know which screwdriver to take up.
I didn't know that. All right.
I think you got about 2 pictures or 3 pictures that tells the whole story.
Yeah.
This one, this shot, and then the one where you want to put it.
Mhm. This has been such a pain, and it shouldn't have been. And I need to unshare. How do I do that?
Well,
Stop share.
If the TV station hadn't been in such pitiful shape, we wouldn't have had this
Well,
problem.
they caused a whole bunch of our problems. They really did. So I think I gave them more information than they had, as far as what was going on.
The station or
Yes and yes.
the owner of the tower?
Yes and yes.
As long as he gets the rent, the owner of the tower, as long as he gets the rent, he doesn't care.
I told the guy, one of the guys that are in charge of the tower, and he said, "What? Are you kidding me?" I said, "No, I got pictures. If you want to see them." But
I think eventually he would be legally responsible for that.
there could have easily been a lot of legal stuff. I mean, think of it. This problem with that one station leaking so bad, before it totally burned everything up, it burned up the
Two radio stations.
Kicks 106. Is that right, Rick?
Rock 103 or 101?
Yeah.
Rock?
I think 103 on the.
Yeah. Okay.
And then across the hall, the other direction,
Yeah,
the low power TV stations that burnt.
Yeah. The low power TV station, they had to completely replace their coax. The radio station had to completely replace theirs.
They had a backup, I believe, a second
Yeah, it was
feed line
backup.
or something.
They had a backup transmitter, backup antenna, backup coax. So they weren't really out, but it was still expensive.
One trip we went out there and remember the low power TV station got tired of waiting on them. So they went ahead and put their new feed line up.
Yeah.
They were, they probably had a big legal thing fighting back and forth about it.
They were down.
Who's wrong?
There was 4 stations coming off of that thing, TV stations, and they were down for months.
Yeah. That was revenue.
Because it just flat burned their lines up. But I don't know. You're gonna play with the big boys, you gotta deal with the big problems, I guess.
Okay.
All right. So want me to continue on with setting this up?
Yes, let's.
Do you want to put it forward in a motion?
I so move that we get Barry to proceed with the tower company. What is it? What's the name of the tower company?
Wallace Tower.
Wallace Tower, to climb the tower and try to relocate to the third heliax.
Right.
All right. So we have a motion. Do I need to repeat that, Paul, or are you good?
You'll send me the recording, won't you?
Yeah. So, well, yeah. Okay. So we have a motion to, so that way Barry can proceed with Wallace Tower Company to climb and move the antenna.
Yeah, that's what I got.
And is there a second on this?
Do we want to put the price in that? Now, that could fluctuate.
Yeah, it could fluctuate.
About $2,000.
Yeah.
Approximately $2,000.
So the price of approximately $2,000. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. So I've got a second from Perry, and again, the main motion was from Joe. Is there any other discussion on it? All right. All in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? All right, it unanimously passes. Good deal. Thank you, Barry. That's exciting to hear. And it's just because we'll be discussing it and everything, and I just wanted to throw it out there because I'm kind of curious to hear your thoughts on it. But at the Aries meeting, somebody mentioned, do we want to consider linking more repeaters and stuff like that? I know the 8.2 is our priority right now, but long term, is that something you think that we should consider, or is that more trouble, then it,
I would have to hear what they want to leak, because
Okay.
we're limiting some stuff, as far as internet, we don't have internet at almost any of these places. We don't have it at the 8-2 site. We do have it at Germantown. And I'm not sure we got it at any of the other sites. So if it involves the internet, you can hang it up.
because the issue with that, if we wanted internet on, like for the 8-2 to do more with it, they would actually have to run it out to the facility, correct? And not just,
We don't have enough money to get them to do that.
yeah,
We ain't got enough political
Pay the
power.
bill.
yeah. Okay.
That was why these clubs started taking off their auto patches. They were tired of paying the telephone bill,
Okay.
and nobody was using it.
We were paying $1,000 a year for phone patches when 2 people were using it.
Yeah,
Wow. Well, and that,
We
you know,
probably
stuff like
waited
that'll
3
be good
years
to
too
bring up
long
too.
to turn it off.
well, I mean, I'm open to listen to anything. Some of them I'm gonna push back on because I already know what the result's going to be.
Yeah.
Some of them I don't know, and we can just talk about it.
Yeah.
Just throwing these things. Everybody says, "Well, you can do this, this, and this, and this." Well, sure you can.
Yeah. All right. Well, I know we'll be discussing it, but in part of, kind of like I said, I figured there's a lot of stuff that's probably been thought about before, or there's a reason why it's not been done. And there may be something, that gets brought up that we might want to consider, but I don't know. It's been a while since we've really talked about it in a meeting. So even if it's, past the ideas, just letting folks kind of get a better understanding of the situation of it, of why things are, that might kind of help.
People bring things up to me. People bring things up to me every now and then, and I let them know, why, or certain things. Oh, I didn't know that, or whatever, But some of them are pretty good ideas, and it's just a little more involved sometimes.
I think once we get 8-2 running,
get
like
8-2
it's supposed to run, it's gonna be
Yeah.
a lot better.
That's true.
Down.
That's true.
They won't think as much other than 8-2 working.
That's right.
I mean, you're right. If you get that one up, they might not think about it.
We never
which
brought
they
this
should,
stuff up
but,
when it was working, did they?
Yeah.
This is the price we pay for having a premium location.
Yeah.
It's
That's
really
true.
crap.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
diesel fuel in the water. Why didn't you know that was gonna happen?
All right. Well, we'll move on with reports. Barry, while we're on you, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, that was enough.
Okay. I mean, that was a lot, but all right. And then Scott's not here, but does anybody have any suggestions or anything we need to let Scott know? John said that, and again, he couldn't be here, but he said that the program, he would do a Huntsville Handfest overview, and then also, I guess, kind of help lead the discussion about the repeater situation, which you could probably do that just as well. But just let folks, throw some questions out or suggestions or whatnot. And then the Huntsville Handfest, he said what he was going to do is kind of do what they've talked about before, where he'll bring up what the seminars are, try to encourage people who have been before to kind of share their experiences. I mean, we've been saying a lot of the stuff over and over and over again at the meetings, but I guess have something a little bit more devoted to it at this meeting. So anything that we need to share with John about those ideas? Okay.
I think he'll do a good job with it.
I think so. And
So what's the title going to be for Sparks?
I think I sent it in the email, and this, if we want to change it, we can change it. Because he was just throwing it out over the phone, but the title could be Huntsville Hamfest Overview and Repeater Discussion, led by John Reiners. If that
Okay.
I'm
sounds
not
good.
sure he needs to talk about the repeaters. I think if we're going to talk repeaters, Barry's going to be the best one to do that. Because John may have some ideas that it would be nice to pass them by Barry first to see if he can do it.
Well, and I don't think he was going to be bringing up like the ideas himself. I think he was going to kind of serve more as a moderator, because we've had a lot of members like reaching out with questions or comments. We've had a lot of emails. We've had a lot of folks grabbing us after meetings and stuff to ask. So I think it was more of a moderator situation of saying, hey, you know, Barry's going to talk for a minute, if that's okay, about what's going on. And especially now that we've got this update, you know, does anybody want to share their discussion, share their comments here in person? So I think it was more of a moderator sense than it was John sharing ideas, just because, you know, if we give people an outlet to make their suggestions and ask questions, and we take the time to answer their questions, I think hopefully that'll go a long way in getting some clarification on it.
Yeah, I think you need to put a time limit on it too, because you can have, everybody's got an idea.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's good, yes, to have a session, but it's almost an entire meeting to talk about just the repeater situation.
Yeah, I know we're sitting here, it's almost 8 o'clock, but but it is important, you know, like, and I thought about that too. I hate when we go over so long with these meetings, but you know, the other side of that is that, I mean, we're here, you know, ham radio, with a lot of what we do is making sure that we need to be, you know, keeping up with the repeaters and keeping up with activities to help train individuals that if something happens, we're ready. And so,
well, the repeaters are not going to make
yeah.
any difference if we have a big situation. You know, it's
well,
all from boot.
That's something to bring up too, you know, and that kind of ties into the whole thing. Like, you know, it's not just the repeaters that we need to talk about. Like, let's talk about, you know, making sure your
Simplex.
home systems are set. Yeah, Simplex.
Simplex being able to get out of Memphis
Mm-hmm.
to someplace.
So there's a lot.
Those towers aren't going to be standing, just like the cell phone towers are not going to be operational. You know, or cell phones or anything, telephone lines and everything else. The only thing you're going to have is ham radio, and that's what's going to have to reach out.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's as simple as, you know, people who, and I was that way for a little bit, who don't know how to program their radios, and they get the computers to program the local repeaters, and that's it. You know, and like you said, if something happens and the repeaters are down, they don't know, if they don't know how to program the radio to handle Simplex or, you know, whatever.
But I think Joe's got a good idea too. Simplex.
Yeah.
You know, people don't know what you're talking about when you talk about Simplex, because they're so used to most everybody that comes out of the classes, or they've used nothing but repeaters.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't think it's not John sharing his ideas. I think it was more, he was just going to be a moderator to encourage folks that, you know, they've been asking these questions one-on-one. So if we can just get them to ask in front of the group, and we can answer it in front of the group, then that might kind of address a lot of the questions before we get them, and encourage transparency, which we totally do, but seemed like a good opportunity to do that. So, Joe,
That'll be good.
Yeah. I know you already covered training earlier. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, we need to talk about the nominating committee. Get somebody
if we can we come back to that? I was gonna let everybody do their reports first.
Okay, do the reports. Yeah.
Yeah. So anything else other than that?
No.
Okay, Paul.
I don't have any applications tonight except for Lynn's that we had last time that I think is a duplicate. Lynn, you weren't here last time, but we got your application over the internet, but then we'd gotten one from you back in March as well. And I'm thinking it was a duplicate, but Jim, I don't know if you looked at it.
I've been having some trouble with my email. It may have re-emailed it to you if it was a duplicate.
Well, didn't you send, he sent a check also, didn't he?
Yeah, had the bank send you a check. So you'd only have one check. Well,
You're on mute, Jim.
Sorry, I guess the mute button on my headset's not working. Yeah, so we received 2 checks from you this year, Lynn. One earlier in the year, and then I think
Okay,
it
then
was like back in
I
like
had
March.
forgotten. I must have forgotten that I had already sent it. So keep the check.
2024.
Yeah, I'll pay 24.
Okay. Other than that,
and we did have somebody pay for their dues. Let me see. Joe made the deposit for us. It was William Peck, KJ4 RCL.
Right.
So he paid his dues at the same time that he paid for Huntsville. But I don't have an application for him, so I didn't know if that was sent separately or who might have that, or if there even was
He
one.
probably didn't. He probably just paid the money. I'll probably talk to him tomorrow and get him to send an application in.
Okay.
should we go ahead and approve it or just wait till we get the application?
He was previously a member, I believe.
Might be better just to wait till you get the application. That way you'll know that you got it and so forth.
Okay.
Joe, do you want to
Doesn't
talk
make
to
any
him to
difference
get that?
really.
Yeah, I'll talk to him.
It doesn't really make any difference. You can go ahead and vote for him and just file the application when it comes in. It's 50 cents one way, $50 the other.
I would say if we've already deposited and if we know, and if he's been a member before, I guess it's a big thing. I would think if Joe, if you know him well enough, unless we have any reason to have any red flags that we could go on and vote on it, I would think. But if y'all would rather wait, we can wait. So
he worked at St. Francis Bartlett and checked in on MedMers from there and then left them a couple of years ago and is retired, and he's actually helping Warren Zimmer with St. Francis Bartlett on MedMers on Wednesday. So he's active in that.
Okay.
I'd say vote on it.
I say vote.
I so move we accept him, Bill Peck.
All right. So I've got a motion to accept the one application that we've got, and that would be for Bill Peck. Is there a second?
A second.
All right. I've got Barry with the second. And that was Joe with the main motion. Is there any other discussion on it? Okay. Hearing none, we'll go on and vote. All in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Likewise. All right. The motion unanimously passes.
Who was the second on that again?
Barry.
Barry.
Barry W5CJ. I guess Barry
Okay.
and Perry do sound kind of.
Barry one,
Me too.
two, Barry two.
Yeah.
Okay. The only other thing I had was I sent the thank you notes to Matt Ryan and Sean Thomas for the donations last month. That was it.
Good
Very
deal.
good. Thank you. Thanks for doing that.
Thank you, Paul.
Can you, and if we, unless you guys think we need to wait, but I thought it would be good if we could send Randy or get Randy a thank you letter, or do we want to wait on that?
We can send a thank you letter, yeah.
Okay. Do you mind doing that as well, Paul?
Sure. All right. I will do it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Jim?
Yes.
That's
Chairman
it?
Grenier.
That long of a day, huh? Treasurer's report and all that.
It has been a long, it has been a long day.
You're on mute, Jim. I'm kidding.
Oh.
You did get me there. All right, so let me share my entire screen here. All right. You see my screen yet?
Yep.
Okay. I don't see the little stop sharing thing at the top, so I wasn't sure. Okay, so we had a pretty light month. We started the month out in our checking account with $22,156.63. Joe made 3 deposits for us, totaling $812, and I wrote 3 checks for a total of $653.91, bringing us to an ending balance of $22,314.72. So here are the 3 deposits that Joe made for us. These are all Huntsville bus fares plus the $20 dues from Bill Peck. The 3 checks that I wrote, we had here. Let me scroll down to the bottom here where I've got it broken out. So here's that $20 for the membership. Here's the $792 for the collected bus fares for 8 folks that are going to Huntsville. Together, that's the $812 in deposits. Then here are the 3 checks that were written. One to Joe for the tables for Huntsville, refreshments for the club and or field day, and a fire extinguisher refill. Does anybody have pictures of the fire? I'm just curious. Okay. The other 2 checks were written to Mary Jean, one for reimbursement for all of the field day food that she so graciously acquired and ran around and used her gas to pick up. And then also reimbursement for the purchase of a few storage bins to collect some of our club equipment from the Allendale Church of Christ, so that we could get all of our stuff out of there and she could properly store that at her house. So we had a total there of $653.91 in checks. You might notice that check number 1594 is missing or out of sequence here. That was a check that I wrote to Scott for reimbursement for refreshments for our last meeting, and I will have to give him a razzing because of the fact that he didn't deposit that. We watched him put it in his wallet several times to make sure that he did not lose it. And then also I wrote another check. 1596 was written to Klein Tours Incorporated, Memphis, for the amount of $2,337. I made a copy of that as well as a copy of the envelope. So that went out last week and was due today. So hopefully they got it in time. I didn't hear otherwise, but I don't know if I would hear otherwise. Joe might. But so that neither 1594 or 1596 written in July have cleared the bank yet. So that's all I have. Any questions about any of this, folks? Oh, and we do have our 2 CDs that continue to grow. And let me see. The total on those two is $16,259.59. Enough to build our own tower. Not
Oh, don't say that too loud, or people may fish for that.
I'll take us up on it.
no,
I'm kidding.
not enough. All right.
Well, that sounds good. And it's a comment, not a question, but so the storage bins, those are what I did is I went through I went through everything and sorted it because there was a lot of stuff that was just, everything over the years. We do one event, we'll grab out, certain items that we need and throw it in. And then, so everything just, I took time to reorganize everything. There were a few things that were just incredibly, like the styrofoam or whatever was just a very nasty looking yellow because it's probably 10, 15 years old or something. So there were a few things that I did toss or recycle. And I talked to Joe about some of the stuff I wasn't sure about. But most everything I just went through and reorganized, and all of that now is at Steve Frazier's father's house in his garage. So since it is out in a garage, it was nice to be able to have it in actual plastic heavy duty tubs versus cardboard boxes. So that way, hopefully it's less likely to incorporate any brown recluses if they get out and all that. But it all is at Steve Frazier's father's house now. So the food items are with Scott. But any like utensils and extra plates, paper towels, some of the generic meeting stuff, the field day, like serving utensils, anything like that is all now out that way. So if we do need that for any upcoming events, and I don't think we should need it before like the Christmas potluck, but if we do, we'll have to make plans to get out there to go pick it up. So. But this because I wanted to follow up on that while I was thinking about it since you said because it's not at my house anymore.
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying that.
So, any questions for Jim?
Going once. Going
Okay.
twice.
Lynn, do you have anything for us?
You're
And
muted.
You're on mute.
You really are muted.
You're muted, Lynn.
We got pretty good publicity in Germantown. Their PR person came through and sent the thing to the local media. I sent the releases out to everybody I've sent them to before, and even some of the new folks. And it just looked like it was not a good news day for ham radio, but I don't know. You can't make them do anything. A lot of new people in the media here in Memphis. I noticed they just hired a new sports guy that's got to learn Memphis State sports. Used to be you had people that knew what they were doing and knew new stuff. So we didn't get a pickup on TV like we normally did. That's about it.
Are you saying something, Jim?
Sorry, I was talking to my son.
Oh, okay. Mike. Yeah.
Updated the website for the August meeting, with the date and, showing that, we're going to be at the seminary again. And started updating Sparks with the stuff that I've already received. So it should be on track to get it out that Saturday or Sunday, right? Whenever I get all the information.
Mike, did you get my training classes?
Yes, sir. I got that today.
Okay, thank you. I was
Yeah.
waiting to get pictures and stuff and information about the class in it.
Gotcha. Yep, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. Perry,
I have nothing to report.
Lucky.
all right.
wonder
All right. So
Perry does. Perry, what do you do? What do you do for the club? Just teasing.
He's going to be
I-
chair of the nominating committee.
I provide
Woo, all right.
moral support
Spokesmodel.
or immoral support, either one.
all right. Well, before Joe mentioned it, before we get on that topic, does anybody else have anything else? All right. So, like Joe brought up, it's that time of the year. We've got to appoint a nominating committee, and we also need to get an idea of who's interested in serving again next year, or who might be interested if we don't have anybody else, but then might want out, or who just completely doesn't have the ability or the time to serve again. So if does anybody right now kind of have a preference with your availability and willingness to serve the club again next year?
I'll take it on again.
I will, unless somebody really wants to be secretary. I would hate to deprive anybody of that opportunity if they really wanted it.
I hate to tell you, that never works.
After 3 years, I wouldn't mind stepping down. But no, I'm not gonna say but.
I was about to ask. So is this like a
Yes, you
hard
will, Jim.
I don't know. Actually, there's a possibility that we could be relocating. My wife looks like she's might be taking on a role with the TVA in Chattanooga,
Okay.
but is trying to work that out to work remote. So we'll see what happens with that.
Okay.
And she's the breadwinner, so she gets to say what we do.
Mike,
But-
what are you thinking?
I'm in if you'll have me.
Barry and Lynn? Perry?
We're appointed. If you want us to do it, we'll do it. Or I will. I don't know
Yeah,
about it.
we're appointed. I mean, I'm appointed.
Well, I mean, you may be, but still,
Well, I'll let you know if I want to get out.
Okay. Okay.
This close.
Just climb that other 200 feet.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Hey, the shape I'm in right now, I couldn't get upstairs to climb the tower.
Perry, what are you thinking?
I haven't really thought about it. I didn't know the deadline was coming up, but I enjoy doing it. I don't know that I contribute a lot, but I enjoy being a part of it. So,
Okay. Well, the deadline is not technically, I mean, somebody could be nominated to run for office as late as the November meeting. I mean, it's nice to be able to, because I mean, we do have to appoint the nominating committee to either kind of set the slate or set the options, however you want to look at it. They're the ones who are responsible to make sure that we have enough people running for at least one person running for each position to get them all filled. And so in theory, I mean, it's nice to come in and have an idea of who can run for the positions and then who can be appointed afterwards, after the election is official. But I mean, somebody could essentially wait as long as they meet the requirements and be nominated on the spot in November. But it's just nice to be able to plan, around it. So we don't have to have a hard idea this time. It's just kind of nice to have an idea of, because like Jim said, like if they might be looking at relocating, or somebody's looking at job changes or whatever, they might kind of know ahead of time if they need to slide out. So and I'll say, I mean, if anybody here is interested in stepping up, you're welcome to serve as president. I mean, I wouldn't mind trying to give another year if you guys are okay with the level of commitment that I've been able to give, because I feel like sometimes I've done pretty well, and then other times I feel like I'm slacking it. I mean, I know I'm not slacking because everything else is crazy. But if that is okay, I don't mind running and serving again. But if not, I would definitely happily step aside to let somebody else run and serve in this position and then serve in some other way. So, but and I have not had a chance to look up the details, but it is that Terry, as vice president, serves as the nominating committee chair, correct? Or am I remembering that incorrectly?
I go with that.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, I'm pulling. It won't take me long. I'm pulling it up right now.
We love you, Perry.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate the support,
Give
Jim.
you something to do.
There you go.
Half your job was just completed.
Well,
Maybe 90%,
you know,
99%.
You did help, part of it. I know there's going to be projects or something from time to time, but I know it helps, even just the meetings, getting out there, and you do a really good job making our new folks feel welcome, and even returning members, anytime any of us can get out and talk to them. Let's see. All right. So it doesn't say. So yeah, so if you're okay serving as the chair for that, Perry,
Sure.
we just have to by the regular August meeting, we've got to appoint, or I've got to appoint, we've got to appoint a committee of 3 nominating. The nominating committee, which consists of 3 members, and they'll be the ones that in the October meeting will nominate all the different positions that are the elected positions. And again, there can be something that's open if there needs to be, but it'd be nice to be able to nominate at least one person for each role. And so last year, so Perry, if you're willing to serve on it, we can have somebody else serve, but it might be good. I don't know, if we can think of 2 members who, I don't know, it might be good to get involved. I mean, because it doesn't take that long. If Jim is the only one who's kind of preferring to step aside, then, and I don't know about John yet, because I know John, I think, has been kind of back and forth on programs because of time. So I know we'll need to talk with him, and then Scott, we can double check with him, but treasurer, maybe any of the others, if folks want to
Yeah, it may
get
not be a
involved,
lot
but
of places to fill. Yeah.
yeah, which is, it that may make it easier and it may not be. I guess we'll see. And because I think it does seem like we're getting some folks who are a little bit newer who seem to be really gung ho about getting involved. So I would think
Yeah.
maybe even if we don't get them in onto a board position, I don't see where it would hurt to start getting some of these guys who are wanting to be more engaged, maybe kind of paired up if they can help learn any positions, or if there's anywhere else we can maybe plug them in. And that doesn't fall on the nominating committee, but that might be nice to kind of help prep, because if, on the horizon as there are openings.
And I was wondering if maybe we could run something in Sparks, that just says, hey, this is kind of the timetable. This is when the elections are for next year. This is when the nominations close. Anybody, that might be interested in running. And we might even be able to say,
Yeah, you can also
Because-
give the qualifications of what it takes to be in office, like
Right.
attend meetings.
heartbeat and respiration.
Fog a mirror.
Oh, hmm.
I don't know, at least people might be reading Sparks. And if there is one of those gung ho people, maybe just let them know that treasurer is one of them. And, that might at least get somebody thinking in that direction. I remember Joe physically grabbed my arm one time and physically twisted it.
Yeah, he's good at that.
That's an old Boy Scout trick.
So, I'm more cultured and refined than that. So, but yeah, that might be a thing. Just if people are reading Sparks and they know, hey, nominations will be in October, and then but I don't know. It might just put a thought in someone's mind.
Yeah,
Especially
I'll,
and treasurer
Go
is
back
hard
and
to
look in
fill.
Sparks and see
Yeah.
what we do every year. I think that, we do some kind of an introductory blurb about that in
Yeah.
Sparks, so we could go back and look at what we've done in the last couple of Sparks, probably.
Cool. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, and maybe just tell them, because treasurer will be hard to fill.
Yeah. Usually I think we do that like in the October timeframe, warming up for the November. But yeah, I'd go back and look at last year's Sparks to see when we did that.
Yeah, I can send something to you, Mike, for this edition. Not going into a whole lot of detail, but just enough to kind of prime folks to be thinking
Heads
about
up.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Sounds
good
good.
idea, Mary Jane.
And maybe a profile about Jim, and what all he's done and how sad we are and all that too would help.
You can
Oh,
follow
you cracked me up.
footsteps all the way to Memphis, but you can't go to Chattanooga.
Yeah, I want to go to Chattanooga with you if you go, Jim.
Oh yeah, you'd be a lot closer to your son.
Yeah, and I love that.
You could work for remotely, Jim, and still be treasurer.
Yeah.
Think of
It's
all
always
the
that
fun times
possibility.
that you're going to miss out, though, if you do, on going to regions and meeting and then getting something settled and then meeting again later because it didn't get settled. And
Yeah. And we do have one of the CDs maturing in November 25th. So
okay.
Officers don't change till January 1.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I
we'll
can't
work it
say
out.
I'm excited about getting that pushed over. You sure? Not one more year? Oh. But no, I get it's part of it. Okay. All right. Do you I mean,
It's
we
not
could put
100%.
somebody else from the board in on this nominating committee, but I mean, would you guys be okay if we got two people to serve with Perry who are not on the nominating committee? Or do we want to have another board member on it as well? You're muted, Joe.
I think two other people plus Perry.
Okay.
See what we
Do
can
we
do.
have, do you possibly have some ideas of maybe who you could talk to serve on the nominating committee with you, Perry, or do we need to try to brainstorm some now?
Well, the net controllers, especially the younger ones, they're some of the gung ho type people, and they're already invested in the club. So, I mean, I don't know a lot of them super personally, but I would think, that's kind of that's a big way that someone shows interest, I think, in what's going on with the club. So that might be a thought. I don't know if any of the younger net controllers would be interested. I don't know. I don't know of anyone that I say, wow, well, they have a bookkeeping background or they're in the financial industry or anything like that. But I think net controller and teaching at Joe's classes were kind of how and being a VE, were ways I kind of tried to give back to the club. So I can't think of any new VEs, but I know we have some newer.
Get Park Dodge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that Park Dodge would be an excellent one. He'd probably be good financial too.
Yeah.
Because that's a family run operation, and that's a smart family that I know him from Tupelo. So I'd definitely get him, and that might be the answer to your treasurer problem and not nominating committee.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If we know of people that want to be on the board, we won't want to get them to be on the committee. So
yeah, that's true.
I'll just toss this out there. I'm a recovering CPA if I needed to slide over, but
I wasn't sure what word was going to come after recover.
Okay. Well, I mean, while we're all sitting here talking about it, would you have any interest in sliding over to do the treasurer stuff if we can't figure somebody else out?
if you couldn't figure somebody else out, I'd be happy to do it.
Okay.
My ability to keep up with dollars is much better than my literary skills.
You must be really good then, because you've done a good job with it, so. But okay, that's an option, that's something to keep in mind too. Okay. All right. Well, I guess Perry, since you're chair of, I'm appointing you chair of the nominating committee.
All right.
Thank you for serving in that role. And the bylaws just says that we have to appoint a nominating committee by the August club meeting. So if that happens to be during the club meeting, if it's easier for you to walk around and kind of talk to, and find two people who can serve and just kind of help brainstorm with you, then we can do that. But to keep with the bylaws, we do want to, I guess, officially decide and announce that by the end of the August meeting. But that is a good idea too, to try not to tap anybody who might be interested in serving on the board, to kind of help keep that separated. But and then as far as the timeline, I know most of you are familiar with it. This is since you've been serving for several years, but we let's see. The nominating committee will be appointed by the August meeting, and then the nominating committee will place the names of everybody else into nomination by the October meeting. So we can write something up in the Sparks or do that. There's nothing that requires that we announce that before that meeting, but they will need to have a list by October. So they've got 2 months to figure out who can fill the positions. Yeah.
Good deal. And I might just do what we did last. I got drafted into the nominating committee, I think, last year, and I might just see if like Joe and John or something would be a standby if I couldn't find anybody else. But I'll put my cap on and see if we can bring some other people in.
Perry, you might, somebody that might want to run is John Duty, KK4LST, and Joe Plunk. I'm trying to remember what his call is.
Or Echo.
Or Echo, yeah.
NS4E, or
Yeah.
is that it? NS4E?
I know it's 4 Echo. I'm not sure what comes before that, but I know who you're talking about.
It's NS4E.
Okay.
Now, I'm really more worried of finding 2 other people to be on the committee than I am, finding recruiting people to run. But yeah, and like I said, they've kind of stepped up on the net and things like that. So it's kind of what I was thinking earlier.
Well, and I will say too, I'll try to brainstorm as well. And if I can help ask around and encourage anybody to serve on that committee too, I'll obviously be happy to do that.
Sure.
So we'll get it done. Like you said, Joe's always been the one going around twisting arms, but we can figure out a way to get it done.
You had to go to Campbell Clinic the last time he did it to me. So.
All right. Okay. Does everybody have a current copy of the bylaws? Because I know we passed them a few years ago, but do I need to resend them out, or are we good?
I might
Well,
take one.
and aren't they on the
I helped
website?
y'all with it.
Yeah, they're on the website.
They
Oh,
are.
okay,
Okay. Good. Okay.
Cool.
Great.
I was going to say I helped y'all with it, but I don't know if I ever got a final copy or not. But if it's on the website, we're good.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have anything else? All right. Well, I appreciate you guys sticking with it. I know we had a lot to cover tonight, and I was kind of dreading the lengthy meeting myself, but certainly appreciate it. And unless there's an objection at 8:29, we are adjourned.
Popcorn on you, but stand by.
Sounds good.
Yep, sounds good. So Joe's been nominated as president, correct?
Yes.
Yep, you're right.
And Trevor.